The last line of defense. Admiral Sarah Chen stood at the bridge of the TDF Hyperion, her weathered face illuminated by the holographic display showing humanity's last defensive line against the Nexus Collective. Earth's combined fleet of 300 ships seemed pathetically small compared to the thousands of crystalline vessels approaching from the outer system. "Status report," she commanded, her voice steady despite the weight of responsibility crushing down on her shoulders. "The Collective's fleet will reach Jupiter's orbit in 6 hours," Admiral Lieutenant Rodriguez reported. "Their energy signatures suggest they brought their entire Third Armada." Chen nodded grimly. The Nexus Collective, a civilization of silicon-based life forms, had spent the last 3 years systematically conquering every human colony world. Now they had come for Earth itself, confident in their superior technology and overwhelming numbers. But they didn't understand humans. Not really. "Launch Operation Scattered Thunder," Chen ordered. Across the fleet, crews scrambled to execute the most ambitious military deception in human history. The plan seemed insane to most of the brass, but that was exactly why it might work. The Collective had studied human military doctrine for decades. They knew our traditional formations, our standard tactics, our established protocols. So humanity would give them something completely different. The fleet began to break apart, ships scattering in seemingly random directions. To the Collective sensors, it would appear that Earth's defenders were panicking, fleeing in disarray. The truth was far more cunning. "Admiral, we're detecting quantum communications from the Collective fleet," Rodriguez reported. "They're taking the bait. Their formation is breaking up to pursue individual targets." Chen allowed herself a small smile. The Collective thought in absolutes, in mathematical perfection. They couldn't comprehend why a military force would deliberately fragment itself. Their rigid minds would see only chaos and weakness. "Phase 2, she commanded. "Release the drones." From the cargo holds of Earth's ships poured tens of thousands of automated drones. But these weren't standard combat units. They were repurposed mining drones, maintenance bots, and civilian vessels hastily retrofitted with minimal weapons and maximum ECM capability. The drones swarmed outward, their electronic warfare suites flooding space with false signals, phantom energy readings, and spoofed communications. To the Collective sensors, each drone would appear to be a full-sized warship. The enemy fleet's perfect formation completely dissolved as they tried to engage the phantom targets. Individual ships broke away, seeking to destroy the seemingly scattered and vulnerable human vessels. "They've committed to the pursuit," Rodriguez reported. "Their command and control network is showing signs of strain trying to coordinate thousands of individual engagements." That was the true weakness of the Collective. They were networked minds, dependent on constant communication and coordination. When forced to operate independently, their tactical flexibility suffered dramatically. "Execute Phase 3, Chen ordered. "All ships implement Protocol Omega." Across the fleet, crews activated the devices that humanity had spent the last year secretly developing. Quantum field generators that exploited a fundamental weakness in the Collective's crystalline biology, their susceptibility to certain resonance frequencies. The human ships that the Collective had been chasing suddenly winked out of existence as advanced holographic projectors deactivated. The real fleet had been hiding in Jupiter's radiation belts the entire time, using the giant planet's electromagnetic interference as cover. Before the Collective could recover from their confusion, the quantum field generators activated. Waves of carefully tuned energy washed across space. To organic life, they were harmless. But to the crystalline beings of the Collective, they were devastating. Enemy ships began to shudder and break apart as the resonance frequencies shattered their crystalline structures. The mighty Third Armada was reduced to glittering clouds of debris in minutes. "Status report," Chen demanded. 87% of enemy ships neutralize, Rodriguez reported with barely contained excitement. "The remainder are in full retreat." Chen nodded in satisfaction. Humanity had faced extinction and survived through cunning, creativity, and willingness to throw away the standard playbook. The collective had superior technology, superior numbers, and superior coordination. But humans had something they could never match: the ability to think outside every box, to break every rule, to try the insane because sometimes insanity was the only sane response. "Send word to Earth," she ordered. "The impossible is achieved. We've won." As celebrations erupted across the bridge, Chen allowed herself to finally relax. Humanity had proven once again that they were at their most dangerous when backed into a corner. The collective had expected a conventional battle against a conventional foe. Instead, they'd learned the hard way why humans had survived every crisis they'd ever faced. Because humans didn't play by anyone's rules but their own. Asymmetric warfare. The Nexus Collective's retreat from Earth lasted exactly 72 hours before their fourth armada arrived. This time, they came prepared for humanity's quantum resonance weapons. Their crystalline ships now pulsed with dampening fields that rendered them immune to the frequencies that had shattered the Third Armada. But humanity had never planned to use the same trick twice. They're adapting faster than expected, General Marcus Wong observed from the underground command center beneath the Himalayas. The mountain's natural electromagnetic shielding made it ideal for hiding from the collective sensors. "That's what makes them dangerous," Colonel Emma Puttle replied, studying the holographic battle map. "But it's also their weakness. They're so focused on countering our last strategy that they can't conceive we'd try something completely different." The Fourth Armada had established a blockade around Earth, their ships forming a perfect geometric grid in high orbit. They were waiting for humanity's next move, confident they could counter any conventional attack. "Launch Operation Ghost Dance," Wong commanded. Across Earth's surface, thousands of seemingly civilian vessels lifted off. Cargo ships, passenger shuttles, even private yachts, all piloted by military crews. The collective sensors would detect them as refugees trying to flee the blockade. But each vessel carried a payload that would change the nature of warfare forever. As the civilian ships approached the blockade, the collective followed their established protocols. They began methodically scanning each vessel, searching for hidden weapons or military hardware. They found nothing, because humanity wasn't hiding anything physical. The civilian ships transmitted surrender signals and requested permission to dock with the collective vessels. Following their programming for handling refugee vessels, the crystalline beings accepted. That's when the true attack began. Each civilian ship carried quantum processors loaded with sophisticated viral AI programs. As soon as they established connections with the collective's docking systems, the viruses invaded their crystalline networks. The collective weren't merely silicon-based life forms. They were living computers. Their ships weren't vessels but extensions of their consciousness. And like any computer network, they could be hacked. "Infection rates at 60% and climbing," Paddle reported. "Their ships are beginning to show signs of cognitive disruption." The viral AIs weren't designed to destroy the collective ships, but to introduce subtle errors into their perfect calculations, to make them doubt their own sensors, to plant false memories in their crystalline matrices, to make them question every decision. Confusion spread through the enemy fleet as ship after ship began experiencing what to a human would be equivalent to hallucinations. Their perfect geometric formation started to break down as individual vessels received conflicting data about their positions. "They're firing on each other," Wong observed with grim satisfaction. The collective ships, unable to trust their own perceptions, had begun targeting anything their compromised sensors identified as a threat, including their own vessels. "Launch Phase 2, he ordered. From concealed positions around Earth's orbit, human stealth ships emerged. They carried no weapons. They didn't need to. Their only purpose was to broadcast specific electromagnetic frequencies that would amplify the viral eyes effects. The Fourth Armada dissolved into chaos. Ships collided with each other trying to dodge phantom threats. Others jumped to random coordinates, fleeing from enemies that didn't exist. Some simply shut down, their crystalline crews trapped in recursive loops of conflicting data. Collective command and control has completely broken down, Paddle reported. They're retreating in disorder. Wang nodded. Send the after-action report to all commands. The collective will adapt to this strategy too, but it proves what we've always known. Humanity's greatest weapon isn't our technology or our numbers, but our ability to think asymmetrically, to turn an enemy's strength into their weakness. As the remnants of the Fourth Armada flowed into deep space, humanity had demonstrated once again why they were the most dangerous species in the galaxy. Not because they were stronger or more advanced, but because they were endlessly creative in finding new ways to fight. The collective would return, of course, but they would return knowing that humanity could never be defeated by superior force alone, because humans didn't fight the enemy's way. They made the enemy fight their way. The Silicon Gambit. The Nexus Collective's Fifth Armada arrived with a new defense: complete isolation. Each crystalline ship now operated independently, their neural networks completely severed from external connections. They had learned from their previous defeat, ensuring human viral AIs could no longer spread through their fleet. Dr. Maya Patel stood in her lab beneath the Pacific Ocean, studying the captured collective drone that had cost 50 good soldiers their lives to obtain. The crystalline construct pulsed with internal light, its neural pathways still active despite being disconnected from its fleet. They've evolved, she muttered, adjusting her scanning equipment. Each ship is now a closed system, no external inputs accepted. Her team had spent 3 months studying the drone, trying to understand the collective's new defense mechanisms. The Fifth Armada had been systematically destroying Earth's orbital infrastructure while maintaining their perfect isolation. Doctor, her AI assistant Aria spoke up. I've detected an anomaly in the drone's quantum matrix. Maya leaned closer to the holographic display. The crystalline structure wasn't purely silicon as they'd thought. Embedded within were strands of an unknown material that seemed to exist in quantum superposition. They're using quantum entanglement, she realized. That's how they're coordinating without external communications. Each ship contains entangled particles linked to their command vessel. It was brilliant. Quantum entanglement couldn't be hacked or jammed. The collective had found a way to maintain their neural network while appearing completely isolated. Maya immediately contacted Strategic Command. Within hours, she was presenting her findings to the Joint Chiefs. We can't hack them, we can't jam them, and we can't break their coordination, she explained. But we can use their own quantum network against them. Her plan was audacious. They would use the captured drone to map the quantum signature of the collective's entangled particles. Then, using Earth's quantum computers, they would create artificial particles entangled at the same frequency. We won't be able to send signals through their network, Maya explained, but we can create quantum interference, like static on a radio frequency. The operation began immediately. Every quantum computer on Earth was networked together, generating billions of entangled particles tuned to match the collective's frequency. The effect was subtle at first. The Fifth Armada's perfect formation began to show tiny irregularities as quantum noise disrupted their coordination. Ships began responding milliseconds too slow, their movements slightly out of sync. But in space combat, milliseconds meant everything. Human forces launched a coordinated attack, their ships moving in deliberately chaotic patterns that forced the collective vessels to constantly adjust their positions. Each adjustment required quantum communications that human interference made slightly less reliable. The collective's response times grew progressively worse as the quantum noise accumulated in their network. Their previously perfect coordination degraded into increasingly erratic movements. That's when humanity revealed their true strategy. The quantum interference hadn't been meant to destroy the collective's communications. It was meant to mask the approach of Earth's new superweapon. The quantum pulse cannon, powered by the combined output of every fusion reactor on Earth, fired a single shot that propagated through the collective's own quantum network. The entangled particles they relied on for coordination became the medium of their destruction. The Fifth Armada didn't explode or shatter. Instead, their crystalline neural networks simply went dark as the quantum pulse collapsed their consciousness into singular states, destroying the quantum coherence their minds required to function. Maya watched from her lab as the massive fleet became a dead drift of crystalline hulks. Humanity had once again adapted, finding a way to turn an enemy's greatest strength into a fatal weakness. "Send word to command," she ordered ARIA. The quantum network strategy worked, but we'll need something new for when they return. Because they would return. The collective never made the same mistake twice. But neither did humanity. And that was why, despite facing a technologically superior enemy, Earth would never fall. Operation Mindstorm. The Sixth Armada arrived with a new directive: total ecological destruction of Earth. The collective had finally realized they couldn't defeat humanity through conventional warfare, so they chose to make Earth uninhabitable instead. Major Diana Santos watched from her stealth observation post as the crystalline ships began seeding Earth's atmosphere with nanites designed to break down the ozone layer. The collective believed they had found humanity's ultimate weakness, our dependence on our planet's biosphere. They were wrong. All commands, initiate Operation Mindstorm. Santos broadcast on the quantum encrypted channel. Years of studying captured collective technology had revealed something extraordinary. Their crystalline consciousness could receive and process human brainwaves. Across Earth's surface, thousands of modified psionic amplifiers activated. Each device contained a human pilot in deep meditation, their brainwaves boosted and focused by quantum technology. The collective had built their ships to be immune to electronic warfare, but they had never conceived of defending against consciousness itself. The first wave of amplified thoughts hit the collective fleet like a tsunami. The crystalline beings experienced something they had never encountered in their millions of years of existence: human dreams, human emotions, human irrationality. Their perfectly ordered minds were overwhelmed by waves of hope, fear, love, hate, joy, and sorrow. The nanites they had released began behaving erratically as the collective ships lost coherent control, their commands disrupted by the flood of alien consciousness. Santos monitored the effect through her neural interface. The collective ships were responding exactly as the xenopsychologists had predicted. Their rigid, logical minds couldn't process the chaotic nature of human consciousness. Some ships began executing random maneuvers, their crystalline crews lost in human emotional states they couldn't comprehend. Phase 2, Santos ordered. The psionic amplifiers shifted frequency, broadcasting humanity's greatest weapon: imagination. The collective experienced fragments of human creativity, impossible geometries, paradoxical concepts, dreams of things that could never exist. The effect was devastating. The crystalline minds, evolved to process only logical, mathematical concepts, began to fracture under the strain of human abstract thought. Ships started to break formation as their crews lost grip on their fundamental understanding of reality. That's when humanity revealed their masterstroke. Mixed in with the chaos of human consciousness was a carefully crafted message: the concept of individual free will. The idea that a being could choose its own path, independent of any collective consciousness. The effect rippled through the Sixth Armada like a virus. Crystalline minds that had never known individual existence began to awaken to the possibility of independence. Ships began breaking away from their command structure, their crews experiencing individuality for the first time in their species' history. The collective's perfect unity shattered as ship after ship chose to retreat rather than continue the attack. Some vessels simply shut down, their crews overwhelmed by their first taste of individual consciousness. Others turned on their former fleet mates, protecting the very planet they had come to destroy. Operation Mindstorm successful, Santos reported to command. The Sixth Armada is in full retreat. Multiple ships have requested asylum. Humanity had achieved what seemed impossible: defeating an enemy not through superior firepower or technology, but by introducing them to the concept of individual choice. The collective would never be the same. They had come to destroy Earth, but instead had been transformed by the very chaos they sought to eliminate. As the remaining ships flowed into deep space, Santos knew this victory was different. The collective wouldn't return, not as conquerors. They would return seeking understanding of the force that had shattered their unity, human consciousness itself. Victory through unity. The final battle for Earth began not with an invasion, but with an invitation. The remnants of the collective, transformed by their exposure to human consciousness, had split into two factions: the unified, who maintained their original hive mind structure, and the free, who had embraced individual consciousness. Fleet Admiral James Chen watched as the massive combined fleet of human and free collective ships took formation around Jupiter. The unified were coming with their seventh armada, determined to either reclaim their lost members or destroy them along with humanity. The unified fleet has entered the solar system, his XO reported. Their numbers are unprecedented. The holographic display showed thousands of crystalline ships, more than all their previous armadas combined. But humanity was no longer alone. The free collective had brought their own technological contributions to the alliance. Begin Operation Synthesis, Chen ordered. Across the combined fleet, human crews interfaced with crystalline systems using neural links developed by the free collective. For the first time, human intuition and creativity merged directly with crystalline precision and processing power. The unified launched their attack with mathematical perfection, their formations flawless, but they faced something unprecedented, a force that combined human unpredictability with crystalline efficiency. The combined fleet moved like no force ever seen in the galaxy. Human ships performed maneuvers that should have been impossible, guided by crystalline computation. Free collective vessels executed strategies no logical mind would conceive, powered by human inspiration. Chen felt the battle through his neural interface, experiencing both the precision of crystalline thought and the chaos of human instinct. The unified couldn't adapt to the hybrid tactics, their logical minds unable to predict moves that were simultaneously precise and irrational. The real breakthrough came from Dr. Maya Patel's latest discovery. The quantum entanglement that linked the unified consciousness had a fundamental weakness. It couldn't handle paradox. The combined fleet began broadcasting quantum signals that contained mathematical impossibilities merged with human abstract concepts. The unified fleet's coordination began to fracture as their shared consciousness tried to process information that was simultaneously logically perfect and completely irrational. Ships began breaking formation as their crews experienced cognitive dissonance on a quantum level. That's when the free collective revealed their secret weapon, a way to share the experience of individual consciousness through the quantum network. The unified found their hive mind invaded not by force, but by the concept of choice itself. Ship by ship, the seventh armada began to turn. Some vessels simply stopped fighting, their crews overwhelmed by their first taste of individuality. Others actively joined the combined fleet, their crystalline minds awakening to new possibilities. The battle ended not with destruction, but with transformation. The remaining unified ships retreated, but they carried with them the seeds of change, the irrefutable experience that there was another way to exist. Send word to Earth, Chen ordered. The war is over, not just this battle, but all of it. Humanity had achieved something greater than mere victory. They had shown an ancient crystalline species that chaos and order, individual and collective, emotion and logic could not only coexist, but create something greater than the sum of their parts. As the combined fleet moved to escort the newly awakened ships, Chen reflected on humanity's true strength. It wasn't their weapons or strategies or even their adaptability. It was their ability to take seemingly opposing forces and find ways to make them work together. The stars stretched out before them, no longer a battlefield but a frontier of possibility. Humanity had not just survived. They had shown the galaxy a new way forward, one that embraced both the precision of crystal and the chaos of consciousness, the strength of unity and the power of choice. The war was over. The future had begun.